It is Thursday, March 7th, and the Splash Zone is back in your life. I am Matt Modine, and I'm here to give you my 4 favorite NBA player props for tonight's NBA betting slate. And if I sound like I have a pep in my step this morning, it's because yesterday was absolutely incredible. Just one of the better days that I've had with these NBA player props, which was great because 2 days ago we had a down a day. I gave out 4 picks on the YouTube channel. We got 3 of those 4 to cash. The only one we missed was Darius Garland making 4 3-pointers, and he made 3, and he missed 3 in the fourth quarter that would have cashed the over. But we cashed De'Aaron Fox over his points prop. We cashed Kobe White making 4 3-pointers, and we cashed Franz Wagner scoring over 18.5 points as well. We end the day on our mainline plays, going 3-1, up 2.30 units. But what really made the day incredible yesterday was later in the day, I gave out 3 ladder plays. I gave them out both to my Dub Club, and then I posted them for free on YouTube. We'll get into my Dub Club in a little bit, but if you like my plays and you want them texted to you, the Dub Club would be the way to go. But I did post them on Twitter as well. And the ladder plays literally swept the slate. We literally went 3-0 on our 3 ladder plays. We cashed Franz Wagner scoring 25 plus points at plus 280 odds. We cashed Jalen Suggs scoring 15 plus points at plus 320 odds. And we cashed De'Aaron Fox scoring 30 plus points at plus 170 odds. Just an amazing day. Going 3-0 on ladder plays is incredible. So we ended the day on ladder plays specifically up 3.85 units. Just an amazing day yesterday. Let's hope we can keep it going today. On the entire season, on our mainline plays, we're up 59.81 units. Would love to get above the 60 unit mark after today. And then for our ladder plays, which as you can see, I just started tracking on February 24th. I really wished I'd started tracking them earlier because I can assure you I've been green on the entire year. But since we officially started tracking them onto 24, we are up 6.93 units. Just amazing success that we're having. So if you were able to cash some plays with us yesterday, I would appreciate if you could interact with the video just so we can have this one perform well, because it's always nice to have some good days. And then, of course, if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are brand new, I would appreciate that as well. But then, of course, like, comment, all that good stuff, as I mentioned. Enough about yesterday. You're only as good as your most recent bangers. So let's hope we can have a good day today. Let's see what we got in store. Our first play is in the Celtics versus Nuggets game, and I'm taking Jamal Murray over 2.5 made 3-pointers. This is best offered at minus 120 odds on FanDuel. So this is a play that I'm also going to be laddering to 4+ made 3-pointers as well. I'm putting a half unit on that at plus 230 odds. So the official play, the mainline play, is the over 2.5 that you see on the screen here. And then we're also laddering him to 4+ made at plus 230 odds. This is a system play. It's a tried and true system. If a team is playing the Celtics and that team has a guard that is adept at running pick and roll, that is adept at pulling up and taking above the break 3-pointers, you want to hammer that person's 3-point props. I've talked about this a lot on the season. It's come through for us mostly. The logic being, it's the way the Celtics play defense. They're a phenomenal defensive team, but they play drop coverage with their centers on pick and roll. Now they play their drop pretty high up. It's not as low as the Bucks and some other teams where they allow the guards to just waltz into mid-range jumpers. No, they play them pretty high. So if the guard who's running the pick and roll is going to pull up, they're going to do it from 3-point range. So that's the basketball nerd reason why the Celtics allow so many above the break and so many pull-up 3-point props. And Murray, I will admit, he's been hit or miss on the entire season. He's also been hit or miss recently, more miss than anything recently, honestly. He has missed this in 3 straight games. That honestly makes me like it even more. Shooting is the most variance stat. I'm not sure what the words I'm looking for here, but you know what I mean. Shooting 3-point props specifically, a very high variance. A 40% shooter from deep doesn't consistently go 2 of 5 or 4 of 10. He'll go 1 of 8, 1 of 8, 1 of 8. Then he'll go 6 of 8, right? That's kind of how things work. So he's missed it in 3 straight games. Prior to that, he had cashed it in 4 of 7. In 3 of those 4 games, he had actually made 4 or more 3-pointers. So for this game against the Celtics, for the reasons that I mentioned, he's got a great opportunity to make a bunch of 3-pointers. Since February 1st, so we're looking at basically the last month's data, the Celtics are giving up the 3rd most above the break 3-point attempts and the 4th most made. Jamal Murray, by far, takes the most above the break 3-point attempts on the Nuggets, and that's again since February 1st. He also attempts and makes the most pull-up three-pointers on the Nuggets by far as well. He makes about 1.5 pull-up three-pointers per game on about 3.5 attempts, 3.4 to be exact. The next closest guy in terms of attempts and makes is Michael Porter Jr., who attempts 2, and he makes 0.4 per game. So he's over an attempt and a half more than the next closest guy, and he's over a full make over the next closest guy as well. Now look at the Celtics. In the month of February, they're giving up literally the most pull-up three-point attempts in the entire NBA, and they're tied for the second most made pull-up three-point attempts as well. It's the two categories that I mentioned. Above the break, pull-up three-pointers. Last time these two teams played, Jamal Murray went 3 of 7 from deep. If he does that exact thing again today, we'll take that because that means we would have cashed our mainline play. But I would love for him to get to 4 made to cash our ladder play as well. That's our first play. Next up, in the Timberwolves versus Pacers game, I'm taking Anthony Edwards, 30-plus points, minus 115 odds at DraftKings. I will admit we have a little more minus money plays than we normally do today. That's just kind of how the board fell. But this play for Anthony Edwards, it's another fade of recent results. He's missed this in 3 straight games, so just like Jamal Murray. And he's actually only scored in the teens in 2 of those games as well. So it's not been a good 3-game stretch for Anthony Edwards. But prior to that, also similar to Jamal Murray, he had been playing well. He had cashed 30 or more points in 4 of his previous 6 games prior to this 3-game stretch. And in the 2 games that he didn't score 30 points, he scored 28 and 29. So he had been playing really well for a 6-game stretch. Only natural for things to swing back down the other way after a hot streak. Now, after 3 down games, let's hope it swings back up and he starts scoring 30-plus points again. Luckily for Anthony Edwards, and for us as well, he's got a great opportunity to do so against the Pacers. Just a train wreck defense, perfect for the way that Anthony Edwards scores. I also like the fact Unabated, who I mentioned I just recently started using, they project Anthony Edwards to score over 30 points. So it does fit within our play as well. And just look at the matchup here, right? According to Courtside Pal, the Pacers are giving up the second most points per game to Anthony Edwards' shooting profile, and literally the most points per game to both his scoring and his playmaking style as well. That completely makes sense when you look at how Anthony Edwards scores and where the Pacers defense is weakest. Number one, they're one of the worst defenses in the entire NBA, just straight up. They also play at one of the fastest paces in the NBA as well, which just leads to a ton of stat accumulation. And more specifically, they cannot guard anybody on the perimeter, but if someone is able to penetrate into the defense, they don't send help from the outside, and they also don't have an elite rim protector. That means guys who can break someone down off the dribble just waltzes into the paint with easy matchups to score. So look at a guy like Anthony Edwards, who that's his game, right? He scores a lot on drives. He scores a lot in isolation. The Pacers are giving up the second most points per game per isolations specifically, while also allowing the highest effective field goal percentage as well, which means that they give up either a lot of 3-pointers or they foul a lot as well. In this case, they mostly foul a lot. Literally, according to NBA.com, are in the 0th percentile of ISO defense, and they haven't gotten any better since they added Pascal Siakam. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards scores the 7th most points in the entire NBA on drives. That's the most on the Timberwolves by far. And the eighth most points per game on ISOs as well. Again, by far the most on the Timberwolves. So he scores a lot on isolations and drives. That's where the Pacers defense is weakest. He also is pretty good at drawing fouls. The Pacers foul a ton. It's just a perfect matchup for Anthony Edwards to blow up. Last time these two teams played, he scored 37 points. I'm not going to ladder him in this one. I'm just going to stick to the 30-plus points, at least as of right now. If I change my mind, I'll let you guys know. But I love Anthony Edwards in this one. Hopefully he comes through for us. Next up, Spurs versus Kings game. I'm taking Domantas Sabonis over 20.5 points, minus 115 odds at Bet365. So as I mentioned, a lot more minus money plays than normal today. But that's okay. I am also going to have a juicy ladder play for this one as well. I'm actually putting a half unit on him to record a triple-double. So I like the points play the most, which is why that's our mainline play. I also like him to get a triple-double, which is why I'm going to put a half unit on him to get a triple-double at plus 215 odds at Bet365. Despite the fact that the Spurs have Victor Wembanyama, who's already like a top 5 defender in the entire NBA, they're also one of the worst defenses in the NBA, specifically at guarding centers. They just can't do it at all, and mostly because everybody outside of Wemby stinks defensively on the Spurs. On the entire season, the Spurs are giving up the most points per game to Sabonis' shooting profile and the second most points per game to his scoring profile. That makes sense because if you look at the entire season, the Spurs are giving up the most points per game specifically to centers, and that's only gotten worse recently, as over the past 30 days, they're also giving up the most points per game to centers, and even more than the entire season. Now, I will admit, Şengün just played against the Spurs and he blew up for 45 points, so that does skew the recent data a little bit. That also means the Spurs allowed Şengün to blow up for 45 points, and he's got the same scoring profile as Sabonis. Since the All-Star break, since February 22nd on, 6 of 8 centers against the Spurs have cashed their over point prop, and the 2 that missed were right there. Miles Turner scored 16 on an over-under of 17.5. Gobert scored 13 on an over-under of 13.5. So yeah, those guys still did go under. One basket, and they both cashed the over, so they both came very close. And Sabonis is kind of similar to our previous 2 plays where he hasn't been playing well recently. He's only gone over this number once in his last 6 games. Also similar to our other 3 guys, he had cashed it in the previous 3 of 4, and he's cashed it in both games against the Spurs this year. And he cashed it in his the last 2 games against the Spurs last year. Not that that matters a ton, completely different team, but still, he has a history of success against the Spurs. Let's hope that continues tonight and he cashes out our 3rd play. Next up, 4th and final pick of the evening, Heat versus Mavericks game. Duncan Robinson, over 21.5 points, rebounds, assists, plus 102 odds at Bet Rivers. As always, the Heat are banged up. It seems like it happens every single year. As always with the Heat, they have guys like Duncan Robinson who step up in an increased role, step in and play really well. So for this game, both Tyler Hero and Kevin Love are confirmed out. The most important one here being Tyler Hero. When he's out, Duncan Robinson has a higher usage rate, just does more for the team. He's a different type of player, but they kind of use him in the same ways. Duncan isn't as good off the dribble as Tyler Hero, but he's good around screens. He's good in dribble handoffs. He's good in pull-up opportunities and stuff like that. And Duncan Robinson has cashed the over 21.5 points, rebounds, assists in 13 of the 22 games that Tyler Hero has missed, including he's done it in 6 of his last 10 and in 3 of 4 as well. So unlike the previous 3 plays, this is not a situation where we are fading recent results. We're backing recent results, but I still think that his PRA number is too low when you consider the fact that Tyler Hero is out. And when you consider the fact that this is a great matchup against the Mavericks for Duncan to rack up a bunch of stats. According to Courtside Pal, the Mavericks are giving up the 2nd most points per game to a shooting profile and the 10th most points per game to a scoring profile. But where things really start to get juicy is they are literally allowing the most assists to his playmaking style and the most rebounds to his rebounding style as well. So strictly, if we're going off of the matchup is best if you just want to take his assists plus rebounds prop. But I do think that Duncan has the opportunity to make like 6 3-pointers in this one. So I did want to add in the points as well. If he catches fire from deep, he could easily, like I said, make like 6 3-pointers. Without Hero in the lineup, Duncan takes the most pull-up 3-pointers on the Heat since February 1st and on. And the Mavericks, in the month of, February on, the Mavericks are allowing the seventh most pull-up 3-point attempts in the NBA. So not among the juiciest, not top 5, but still a pretty good matchup. So if you want, his 3-point prop is over 3.5. I'm not going to take that yet. Again, if I change my mind over the course of the day, I will let you know. I think the PRA is safer, so that's what I'm going with. Hopefully we can ride out this heater as long as possible as our 4th and final pick. And that's all we got. 4 plays for you guys to lock in, 2 ladder plays as well. Let's hope we can have another great day after yesterday. And I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, and I mention it at the end of every video as well. I do have a dub club. It's only $5 a month. And the way it works is the plays you see me give out on YouTube or you see me post on Twitter, I'll post them early on Dub Club. Again, it's only $5 a month, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm trying to sell you on some VIP picks package or something like that. My whole logic for the Dub Club is for people that either don't have time to watch the YouTube videos or they just don't care. They're like, hey, I like your picks. I don't care about your YouTube channel. Just send me the picks. Or there are people that get frustrated when they watch the YouTube video. The odds have already changed. So they said, hey, is there a way I could get these early so I could lock them in before the odds change? That's what the Dub Club is for. So my picks will just get texted to you immediately. You don't have to worry about YouTube or Twitter or odds changing. You'll just get them, again, right on your phone, texted, emailed to you immediately. Again, it's only $5 a month. But to be clear, anything you can get on Dub Club, you can get for free on YouTube or Twitter. So it's just totally dependent on how you want to do it. However you do is totally fine with me. And that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. And heads up, no Splash Zone Friday, Saturday, Sunday as I am traveling. So let's hope we have a good day today to round out our last YouTube video. Again, that's all we got. Appreciate everybody for watching and have a good one.